Painkiller.
CJ, the Painkiller.
Kevin Jackson.
So we need to start acting like a big boy football. It's time for the jet tax to die.
Wow. You're listening to Weapons Hot on Sports War Radio and the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Darnold fires one into the end zone. It is caught. That's a Jet touchdown.
And now here is your host, CJ, the Painkiller, D. Simone, and Kevin Jackson.
What's going on, Jets Nation? Welcome to another edition of Weapons Hot, a New York Jets fan broadcast here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network, Sports War Radio, Snowman Digital Media, and quite frankly, any place where you get your New York Jets fan news. I am your host, CJ the Painkiller D. Simone, and I am joined, as always, by my co-pilot, my right-seater, and one of my very best friends. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Mr. Kevin Jackson.
I told you it was gonna rock. I told you it was gonna ride. That's what's good. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Weapons Hot. We're ready to get it in tonight, guys. Look, first and foremost, kind of have a little bit of a mixed emotion. You know, like when your grandma dies, but you know she was sick, so you know you're kind of happy that she's dead. You know, I mean, not to kind of be too harsh in that way, but the season, man, we knew the season was done. Now we get to move on to the healing portion of what's going to go on. And, I didn't want my analogy to come off, too harsh, but that's really kind of how it is. I feel fuck the season. I'm ready for it to be over with. Let's move on to some of the other stuff that's going to, give us the ability to grow. As Jets fans, I know it's difficult to have expectations, but we can be cautiously optimistic. We can be hopeful. And, I'll be honest with you, we've got quite a few things that we actually can look forward to and say that, even though, the witch is dead, what have you, we're getting ready to heal, and it looks like we're going to have some light at the end of the tunnel. So I'm really excited about our guests tonight, guys. You already know how I feel about that when we get good guests on. Got a really good one tonight. I'm ready to go. Weapons hot. Let's light it up.
All right, and as always, we cannot forget about our wingman, and I got some very special music lit up for him. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Mr. Jimmy Jardine. All right, Jimmy, how the hell are you tonight, my brother?
Oh, I mean, we've been in a habit of saying, I guess, as happy as we can be. The pain, right. the knife we can now pull from the chest. The season's over. Didn't end the way I wanted it to. Once we had two locked in, I wanted to clap the Patriots in their home. We're going to get into why that didn't happen. I have some scathing remarks that are going to come out, but it's nothing but love. I was fortunate enough to be on our guest Green Bean. I was fortunate enough to be on his live stream earlier today when we were talking about our show. We were talking about what's going to happen, and this has got to be the most exciting Jets offseason in the last decade, and everybody should be completely stoked. I'm ready to go. Let's talk.
Let's do it.
All right. And now, ladies and gentlemen, as before, I would like to introduce you to tonight's special guest. Ladies and gentlemen, he is one of the fantastic trio of gentlemen who head up Jets 24/7, and I've got some very special intro music for him because when he comes, the bells toll. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Mr. Green Bean!
There it is.
Green Bean, it is an honor and a privilege to have you on tonight's show. How are you, my friend?
Yeah, man, I couldn't imagine more perfect intro music. Thank you. I'm excited to be here. I couldn't be happier or more honored to be a guest. But let me tell you, just like what was said, I think I am about as excited as I possibly could be for an off season. If the last 2 years of pain were necessary to get us to where we are today, then so be it. My mission going into this offseason is to get people to understand that glum feeling, it's not accurate. We should be excited. We're just mixed up. We're damaged. We're suffering PTSD. It's time to feel good. Joe Douglas is going to do everything that we ever wanted. And just brace yourself. It's going to be exciting, man. I'm ready.
All right. So, Green Bean, this is your first time appearing on Weapons Hot. So please, if you could, tell the fans a little bit about yourself and how long you've been a Jets fan and so on. Because there's a lot of people out there that are very excited to hear from you this evening. So, including myself as well. So, please let us in on the Green Bean.
Yeah. Right on. Well, my first game as a Jets fan was the Mud Bowl, which was the AFC Championship game, the first AFC Championship game that we lost of our 4. And that was against the Miami Dolphins, where they did not cover the field the day before when it poured and rained, because we had an electric offense, and they basically took that from us. And Richard Todd may or may not have been paid to throw a whole bunch of picks and lose that one. But so that was my first game. I was 10 years old, 1982. And for some reason, getting our ass kicked like that stirred something in me. I felt angry. I felt excited. I wanted the team to do something, and I was in. And then Mark Gastineau and Freeman McNeil kept me going. And so, yeah, I've been involved heavily since then. I was a season ticket holder for about 6 years. Lucky for me, it was Coslet, Carroll, Kotite, and the end of the Joe Walton era. That's what I had season tickets for. I gave them up, and then Bill Parcells was hired. So my luck is just like the Jets. But I've been going to games. I've been on Jets forums since the late 90s. I became Green Bean in 1999. And I've been traveling around the country. Right now, what I do is I have a show on Jet Nation called On the Road with Green Bean. I literally live in an RV with my family, and we're traveling around the country to take my kids on every roller coaster in the country, all 770 of them. We're 185 in. And so while I do that, I broadcast my opinions from, whatever's going on with the Jets. I have a lot to say. I know more than just about everybody else I talk to, in my opinion. I tend to be right 99% of the time. I really agree with me, and I'm a big fan of my opinions. And hopefully I can get some of those out tonight with you guys, man. I'm excited to be here, really.
We are super excited to have you. So right now we want to swing around the room. Obviously, the Jets dropping their final decision this season to the New England Patriots, 28-14. This is a game in which the Jets actually led 14-7, and the offense started to look like it was clicking. It did struggle a little bit out of the gate. Sam Darnold did not look as sharp and crisp, but then had a couple of really nice passes, was able to start moving the ball down the field. We started to see the defense make a couple of good stops, but it just seems like that they never really could get the Patriots on the ropes defensively the way that they wanted to. Now, keep in mind, you know what? I mean, this was 7-0 going into halftime, and, the Jets came down, scored really quick. They ended up forcing the Patriots to a 4-and-out or something, and then they were able to come back down again, and they were actually able to get another score. So for a little bit, you really thought that, okay, the Jets had some momentum going into halftime. Maybe, in the third quarter, maybe they were able to build off of that momentum. And it just seemed like that the Jets never could really get drives going where they really needed them to go. So, Kevin, we're going to start with you. Tell me what you saw. And, from the 30,000-foot view, the game, the season ended as ugly as the entire season has been. Ugly. So what were your thoughts? Tell me what you were thinking.
If I'm just going to keep it real about this, I really kind of don't give a shit about the game. I was expecting that we were going to play better. I was expecting that it was going to be some sort of inspired ball, maybe. If not from the coaching staff in particular, but from particular players. I think the main thing that I took out of this was that some of our rookies have, I think, maybe a little bit more of an injury issue than what we would like for them to have. Mims, I think, is now going to be in concussion protocol again, possibly. We watched Becton walk off with with a lower leg injury, which I think is something that we kind of do need to keep our eye on, because these guys are really what the expectation is for our franchise and what it is that we're going to be so happy and excited about over the course of the next couple of seasons. What it is that I took from this is that most of what it is that we saw is going to be no more after this game. Going into next season, we're not going to have to worry about none of that shit. We're not going to have to worry about if Adam Gase is going to ruin momentum by, calling a bonehead play in the middle of an opportunity for us to kind of, really kind of apply some pressure. Frank Bush's defense, while the past couple of weeks we have been giving him props, excuse me, pardon me, again, just kind of look like, we're not in sync and we're not where it is that we needed to be. I will say that the talent that we have on this team is still kind of giving me a little bit of a boost. And Green Bean stated it perfectly in his intro when he said that we shouldn't be doom and gloom. We actually do have some things to look forward to that I think are, quite possibly could be special. But we're going to need to have those people, those shepherds, those guys that are going to be in position to put these guys in spots to be successful. That's really going to be the biggest question for me. This game was just a microcosm of why it is that this season has been as bad as it is. Because we've had opportunities. We should have been able to capitalize. We should have been able to outplay. We haven't had any opportunities to outcoach another team or outcoach an opponent. I don't think we've ever seen any of that.
Adam Gase is not capable of outcoaching another opponent.
And that's
he's shown that over the past 2 years of being here.
He's out of here. He's done. So look, I'm going to keep mine brief because I really want to hear our guys tonight. But the fact of the matter is, this game is exactly what it is that I expected us to be. It wasn't what I wanted, but it is what I expected. And now that it's over, now we can actually get to what it is that we hopefully can look forward to and say, you know what, as a Jets fan for 40 some odd years, and I know Green Bean was talking about that. I was born in 73, so you know what I'm saying? That I remember that game specific. I remember my uncles and my father and all of them guys. I remember them being pissed off about the field conditions specific, like, okay. Now we have an opportunity.
Listen, I could go on and on and on about the conspiracy theories that I have about that game, that Miami purposely left the tarp off there because they knew it was the only way they were going to slow down the Jet defense. I don't know necessarily about Richard Todd getting paid to throw interceptions, though, Green Bean. But anyhow, I do want to flip it over to Mr. Green Bean. So, tell me, what did you see with today's game, and what's your 30,000-foot view going forward?
Yeah, well, I think Kevin said it well. I mean, this was a fitting end to what we watched this season. I mean, look, at this point, with the tank not being a relevant factor, we were split down the middle with some fans saying you got to root for wins, other fans saying you got to root for big picture, and all that is over. It was an inconsequential game as far as anything goes, with draft picks or whatever. I would have liked to see them win. I would have liked to see, just one more kick in the nuts to Bill Belichick. But it was fitting. I mean, we looked good for a minute and then everything went to shit. And Adam Gase has no answers. It's just that simple. If what he's doing is working, he does okay. If what he's doing is working and they stop it, he has no answers for anybody. And that's Bill Belichick or any other coach for that matter. And I think it was very fitting. Sam Darnold, as sad as it is to say, showed us again that the argument that he should be retained and we should be getting a new head coach and force, Sam Darnold on him, that is a fool's errand, from my opinion. I don't think that that's the way we should be looking at it. And Sam Darnold did us a favor today and said, hey, guys, by the way, if you were thinking I'm ready to take this team to another level, I can't. So now whether or not he can be developed, he's 23. He's got a long life ahead of him. I believe if taken care of, he's got a chance of reclamation, but it's not now. It's not here. So anyway, I think that was the biggest thing that stood out for me. We were doing a 5-hour live stream. I was just waiting for Gase to be fired. I had everybody just sitting there, and we were hoping that the news would come 10 minutes after the game. Didn't happen. So I was more. We
were hoping he was going to get fired at halftime.
Oh yeah, I know. I was just like, I just kept saying, like, who's refreshing their Twitter feed, man? What do we got? Like, come on, what's going on here? And it just didn't. Exactly. It didn't come. It is what it is. But yeah, man, we were talking about it, and I think a lot of Jets fans, we're like I said earlier, we're damaged, man. We are suffering from trauma, and it's really difficult to believe. But today, losing was probably a better end because again, it's fitting. It lets the whole Adam Gase era end like you've been doing it. Don't give us any fool, like last year's illusionary 6-2 finish and all that kind of stuff. Oh, we ended with 3 wins. Who knows what that'll do to Chris Johnson? I don't want it. I want him gone. I want it to end. Let it snow. Let it be cold and dark like our feelings have been for 2 fucking years with this guy. So that's how I saw it. I feel bad for a lot of guys, and we'll get into the injury thing maybe a little bit. I have other concerns as well. But I think there's a lot to be hopeful for. And today was just like, hey, man, let's just put the big stamp on this shitty turd of an era with Adam Gase at the forefront of it for us, and let's move on.
Yeah, man.
All right, Jimmy, you're up. Talk to me. Give me your 30,000-foot view on today's a 28-14 loss at the hands of the Bill Belichick-led New England Patriots.
I mean, the bright side is it's been confirmed that, sorry about the noise.
It's okay.
Anyway, it's been confirmed that Becton has a high ankle sprain. I mean, it's not like the greatest injury that you could ask for, but at the same time, he's plenty of time to heal that up now, so it's not a huge deal. We never want to see our receivers in concussion protocol, or any of our players in concussion protocol for that matter. But if it had to happen, then at least it happened now at the end. I wanted to win. I despise the Patriots with every fiber of my being, just like I despise the Red Sox with every fiber of my being. And I wanted that win, but I mean, who knew that Cam Newton was going to actually put on a football uniform instead of like a dress with a flower hat? You know what I mean? He was actually going to come to play. He did fairly well, despite the fact, and I mentioned this on Green Bean stream earlier today, is like Cam Newton he just looked so uninterested. He just didn't care what was happening. Like he was walking out of huddles, like just strolling up to the line. Like none of it mattered to him. And it just didn't matter to any of us either. So I think that I think Green Bean nailed it. I wanted the win, but at the same time, we need to let Gase sit in this mess for the last game of the year. And we need to like hammer it home that Chris Johnson should not be the guy selecting coaches ever again. So if he takes that and if Johnson takes that and gets it and is like, you know what, you guys are right, then it's a win anyway. So as long as Joe Douglas is running this show moving forward, I am a happy camper.
Yeah, and that's really as I give my 30,000-foot view, I'm just glad that this season is over. This season is probably one of the most painful seasons that I've gone through since the Kotite era. I think probably the Kotite era was maybe the first and only Jet season that I could honestly say that at the end of the year, I wanted to burn all my Jet shit in a pile out in the front yard. Okay. Because I was just so aggravated with this franchise and, the direction that it was heading. Now, mind you, when they went 1-15, you had Bill Parcells on the horizon, who actually had a handshake deal with Leon Hess. And then shortly after that, things turned around very nicely, as a matter of fact. So now the question is that once Adam Gase has shown the door, which I still do not believe yet until I see it scrolled along ESPN that he is being fired, although there have been multiple reports that have been circulating, both from Ian Rappaport, Adam Schefter. There was stuff that were broken earlier last week on the Michael Kay show and the Boomer and Carton show about that Christopher Johnson has had enough of Adam Gase, as Adam Gase is getting fired after the Patriots game. So I'll believe it when the press conference comes out and he's actually shown the door. Yeah. So that being said, taking a look at today's game, I did see some positives. You still have Braxton Berrios, who's still out there playing his ass off. You know, Vincent Smith, still out there playing his ass off. Chris Herndon, he caught another touchdown today. So he may be finally getting out of the yips, which is what he was suffering with this entire season. You know, Becton getting the high ankle sprain. He'll have plenty of time to come back from that just in time for training camp to get himself back into shape. You know, it's unfortunate that LaMichael Pirine ended up testing positive for COVID-19, because I really would have liked to see him get some heavy run with Frank Gore having a bruised lung, which I think his career is pretty much done. I think that he's achieved everything that he's wanted to achieve, and I think he's just going to hang it up unless he's going to go play for somebody else. So on the defensive side of the ball, I still think we need a pass rusher. I did see a lot of good things from the defense. However, I think now our linebacking position probably does need to be addressed, because one of the things that our linebackers are, we are horrible in coverage. And we saw it today because we got exposed. Okay. Now we could talk about the cornerback situation all you want. We were playing third and fourth stringers and practice squad guys because other people got hurt. But you know what? We really don't have a true number one cornerback on this team. So that's something that the New York Jets are going to either have to draft or acquire in free agency to shore up that secondary. We have a lot of holes on this team that need to be addressed. So, and really quick, now I want to go through some of the comments over here. And first off, I want to thank everyone who's tuning in tonight. Please get your comments into the comment section. We will read them on the air. I promise I will try my best to get to everybody because I love the comments out there. First off, shout out to John Faris. Hey, guys, what's going on? Roxanne, Charlie, Ashley, Bella, what should my Cowboys do in the draft? I actually sent them a ha-ha face. Like, you guys got a lot of work to do down there in Big D. So Rockaway Archie, shout out to him, and Joey D, we trust. Shout out to my boy Joey Giardino over in the Bronx, New York, one of my old high school classmates. Thank you for tuning in, bro. Go Ravens. All right. Martin Steele, hopes Gase is fired. It's poor coaching and not enough momentum within the game. Shout out to Matty Simon, watching us from across the pond.
Yes.
Gase and Sam should both be gone. Absolutely. Martin Steele chimes back in. Sam had 3 seasons to get it together, and he can't. I believe he is not the future quarterback for us. You know what? Right. After today, I'm going to be honest with you, and everybody who's sitting at this panel knows what a big Sam Darnold fan I am. Okay. I sat up here and I defended his ass through his streaks, through trying to be positive about the fact that I thought that this kid would be able to get it together. And I'm sorry, today was the final nail in the coffin for me. This kid cannot play in New York. He cannot play in this system. He cannot play under this big of a magnifying glass, no matter how cool or how, calm he wants to play it when he does his interviews on the Michael K show on 98.7 ESPN New York. That's fine. You want to play the media game with them, that you want to take all the blame. And look, I look up to him as a team leader. He's doing exactly what he's supposed to do. But you know what? This kid hasn't done shit on the football field to warrant $25 million a year. Yes. After 3 years, I think we've seen about enough that we're going to see of him. Now, I think that he will probably be able to go someplace else, maybe sit behind a veteran for a few games. Maybe he could benefit from being in a different system with different coaching and so on and so forth. And I wish him well. But you know what? He is not the future for the New York Jets, and it's time for us to move on. So you know what? I got to eat my plate of crow, and I'm sure Jason Rhodes is somewhere out there laughing hysterically, saying, "I told you so." And you know what? I'll give him his coup de grace and say that he was right about Sam Darnold.
Let me piggyback off this for you just for a second, CJ, because I knew at some point we'd get to Sam, and the reality is that I because we all have sat here and we've all said that Sam is talented enough to be able to earn the spot or be the guy. But what it is that we haven't seen, and just in the past few weeks, me specifically, I've been sitting on that, what, Sam Darnold is Geno Smith. The one thing, the difference between Sam and Geno is that the fans actually like Sam. They didn't like
Kevin, I'm so glad you brought that up because I would like Green Bean to answer that question in regards to Sam versus Geno Smith. So please, pose the question. I'm very curious to hear what he thinks.
I'll pose it this way, and this is something for Errol too. So I hope you're watching, Errol, because this is kind of where it is that I was at. Right, Geno Smith, second-round draft pick, came in, had conversation about Heisman, had an extremely prolific career in college, one of the most explosive offenses, anywhere during that time. Was in really kind of the consideration for being the top quarterback in that draft class. This kind of similarly to what Sam was. Sam had more competition for that in his draft class, obviously, with Rosen and with Baker and with Lamar. And y'all know where I stood on that because I always said Lamar was going to be the better quarterback out of all of them. We're still the jury's still out on that, just while that's in. But Geno Smith actually did more with less. Because I think that Sam Darnold is a better quarterback than Geno Smith. That isn't to be disputed as far as I'm concerned. I just think that Geno had more success here with less than what Sam had. And let's notwithstanding the coach, I don't want to get into that. But the fans love Sam. The fans have been rooting for Sam. They wanted Sam to be the guy. They've done everything to prop him up and to hold him up. The fans hated Geno from day one. Geno Smith won 8 games as a rookie. He wasn't supposed to play. He was injured the whole preseason, basically, and only had that last game where Rex actually did that bonehead shit and got Sanchez injured, which thrust him in the position to be a starter. He should not have been a starter, and he actually outperformed what it is that he was expected to play, or how he was expected to play. Sam has never lived up to any parts of the expectations of what it is that we thought that he would be. So when I say that Sam is basically kind of a polar opposite of Geno in their personalities, I think the play on the field is literally there is a gnat's eyelash difference between how bad that they have been in comparison. What was it saying? Sam went 4 games without scoring a touchdown. Geno went 5. How many more games with multiple interceptions does Sam have than touchdowns and never getting, barely 200 some odd yards a game? In comparison to what Geno had, Geno was again, he wasn't as talented a quarterback as Sam was. They still have some of the same issues with being able to read defenses, being able to adjust and on the fly and make moves. They both have mobility. They both were able to run and kind of extend plays, but then they both made bonehead interceptions and decisions on the backside of some of those extensions. So, look, I don't have all of the numbers in front of me. I said I was going to let it go because I just kept getting so much drama about it. But really, I'd really kind of love to hear your opinion on this because I was getting a lot of pushback when I said that. I was getting really a lot of people like, no, hell no, because they like Sam. But if we're talking about on-field production, Sam has been as close to Geno Smith as almost any other quarterback that we've had on this roster since. And I don't at me on Twitter. Don't come at me with any of that bullshit unless you're going to tell me and you're going to give me something that separates them from what it is that I've seen. Please.
All right, I have a long answer, so I hope that's okay. You guys gave me this is a beefy sandwich, man. Okay, cut into many slices. So, number one, I will say people forget how good Geno Smith was in college. We look at this Justin Fields game. Everybody's talking about this game in and of itself propels Justin Fields into the conversation to overtake Trevor Lawrence for the number 1 overall pick. Now, that may be true, but don't forget, Geno Smith has also thrown 6 touchdowns in a bowl game. Geno Smith was quite the something in college. So the thing is with Geno, and while I believe both of them should not have been starting their first year, I think starting Sam was a desperation move by Todd Bowles. We should have absolutely kept Teddy Bridgewater and let Sam sit behind him for a year. That was the smart move, but we didn't have smart people running the organization. So the difference, though, outside of shit like handing the ball behind your back on the end zone like Geno would do, I don't know where that idea came from, but I guarantee he knows how dumb that is. And the other thing is, I don't know about the locker room. I don't know any other quarterbacks that had a defensive end break their jaw for $600 in the last. So there's a lot there too, which we don't know. But I was a big Geno Smith fan. But I agree with what Kevin said. He should not have been starting. And that stupid move by putting Sanchez in the fourth quarter when he got knocked out it put Geno in a very bad position to be in there before he was ready. But the big difference between the two is that Geno Smith had coaches. Sam Darnold has no quarterback coach. He has no offensive coordinator. If people dare tell me that Dowell Loggins is an offensive coordinator, let's just look back 20 years from now and we'll see how many more offensive coordinator jobs that man gets. He will never get another one unless Gase is next to him. That is the only way Dowell Loggins gets an OC job. So Sam Darnold Not only does he not have a quarterback coach, he has no offensive coordinator because Gase is too afraid to have his ideas challenged because he's a fucking moron who doesn't know what he's talking about. And he's not going to have somebody else in the room that could challenge him, or else he would have hired an offensive coordinator like Todd Monken or somebody else that was around then, somebody that could actually help develop this kid. Sam Darnold was the youngest quarterback to ever start an NFL game. And what did we do? We gave him Adam Gase, who did not hire developmental coaches. Sam has been sitting there alone. You know how many times I've actually watched like the tapes, and me and other friends I have, how many times Sam Darnold, after like a bad series, a big pick, he goes to the bench and sits alone. There's no one working with him. There's no coach running over. There's nobody with the Microsoft Surface going through the plays. There's nobody on the phone with him. He sits alone. All the while, Adam Gase is also sitting alone on the other side of the bench, drawing in a fucking pictures of penises in a notebook or whatever the hell he's doing.
On the top
So that's the big difference between the two. Look, I was a big Geno Smith fan. He's kind of a doof. He doesn't have that football intelligence like you'd like, but I think he had all the physical attributes, very, very strong arm, very mobile, and he could do a lot. But Sam Darnold, while I think he's probably similar in many respects to the physical talent, Sam Darnold was really put in a bad situation because he has no one developing him. It's like we get into this James Moore. Why isn't James Morgan playing? Because nobody's developing James Morgan. James Morgan he came in from a small USA conference FIU school, and he came to the Jets, and he has no coach. There is no quarterback coach on the New York Jets. There is no offensive coordinator on the New York Jets. So while I agree that Sam Darnold, he needs to go somewhere outside of the spotlight, sit behind Ben Roethlisberger or Drew Brees for a year, 2 years, and be developed. And then he's young enough to do it. He's only 23. But so that's kind of where I see it. I think Geno, look, getting your jaw broken, I think he was going to have a big season that year with Brandon Marshall and everybody. Didn't get a chance to see it because Fitzpatrick came in and did the Fitz magic until he did the Fitz tragic. But Geno Smith, so he lost his opportunity, but Sam Darnold never had a shot. And now he's damaged goods. You can see it. He leaves the pocket before there's pressure. His feet are jumping. He's still throwing off his back foot. He has all those things.
Oh, yeah, especially that friggin' pass in the third quarter over there where he was running away and he was throwing off the back foot. And I was in my garage and I was putting some stuff away in totes. And I'm sitting there and I see the pass and I'm like, why are you throwing off your back foot? There's no reason for you to do it. Just step, plant, and get rid of the ball. And you know what? Had he done that, it probably would have turned out to be a completion instead of being another drop. So
like you said earlier,
I want to go one. I just want to go one further.
Wait, guys. I got a question for Green Bean. I want to get this on, and then also got a couple of comments really quick, and then Kevin, I promise we'll get to you.
Good.
Jason Rhodes has a question for Mr. Green Bean. Green Bean, Rex could be considered a QB-friendly coach. Yes or no?
No.
Okay.
Who?
Explain to us why.
I don't.
Rex?
Could Rex be considered
Rex Ryan.
Rex Ryan be considered a quarterback-friendly coach? I don't think Rex really has an understanding of how to develop and build an offense. He left that to his coordinators, and don't forget, he used Brian Schottenheimer as a scapegoat. He used Sperano as a scapegoat. When he went up to Buffalo, he used Greg Roman as a scapegoat. I don't think Rex Ryan has any idea how to build offense. He took Calvin Pryor in the greatest wide receiver draft in NFL history in the first round. I don't think Rex gets it. I liked Rex. Rex was the most fun I ever had as a Jets fan. I have nothing bad to say about Rex as any of that. But as far as him being a quarterback friendly or even offense friendly, I think my answer is a firm no on that one.
Great answer.
All right. And also, I want just another shout out for Jason. Jason's coming with the fire tonight. I'm really happy. He's bringing some good wood tonight. Blame Todd for starting and trying to save his job. Sam should have sat his first year. Yes, absolutely. I agree with that. And I'm going to explain to you why. Josh McCown should have started the first 8 games of the season, and they should have turned the keys over to Sam Darnold halfway through the season, regardless of what their record was. And another thing, too, Todd Bowles should have never fired John Morton. If there is anybody who should have been mentoring Sam Darnold, It should have been John Morton, not Jeremy Bates, who spent 5 years in the fucking mountains. Okay? I'm sorry.
Right.
The son of a bitch should have never came back down. Him and his friggin' banana hammock. All right?
This is a
Because he couldn't coach it. He couldn't coach his way out of a wet paper bag with directions.
Yeah.
Okay? Let alone an NFL offense. And you want to know who will back this up? Go talk to Keyshawn Johnson.
Wow.
Okay? Keyshawn Johnson was asked about Jeremy Bates. And he flat out said on the Michael K show, he should have stayed his ass up in the mountains because he couldn't coach when I had him as a rookie, and he still couldn't coach when he came back to the NFL.
Look, this is a chain reaction thing for me because I really I'm kind of sparked now by having this little funky ass Geno Smith conversation, because the fact of the matter is that if Chan Gailey would have had the opportunity to get Geno when he had Brandon Marshall and Eric Decker and Kimmel and all of them guys, I'm telling you right now, if Geno Smith comes in and throws 2 touchdowns and 1 interception a game that season, the way that Fitz did, we're not really having a conversation about Sam Darnold at this point, because I think Geno would probably still. I'm not sure if he would have made it this far, but just thinking in terms of on the on-field stuff, we might not be having that conversation. It probably would have never been about a Fitz tragic, and I have a difficulty saying that. I can't say Fitz.
Yeah,
I can't say just, but I have an unhealthy dislike for Ryan Fitzpatrick. So just talk that up to my head and my heart. I can't stand that guy. But the fact of the matter is that had Geno been given that opportunity that season, none of the conversations that we're having about the quarterback position might actually be the same right now. That when you give a young guy an opportunity, it does kind of transform the trajectory and the shape of how things kind of work out in that regard. I said this previously. It's almost like that Snickers bar commercial, right? Another unfortunate side effect of hunger. We've been so hungry for having all of this other stuff going on that we've been acting uncharacteristically. We haven't been smart with our coaching decisions. We haven't been smart with our player personnel decisions. As fans, we've all been kind of jumping on the bandwagon saying this or that could be the answer. This or this should be how it is that we go. But none of it is being born out of we actually see it being done. We don't know what the fuck is, what's supposed to look like. None of us have ever really seen how a championship caliber team is built because we haven't been there. Ever since Bill Parcells, and my condolences about spending all that money on the tickets and then having them kind of fly after the fact. I get that.
right.
That's since then we really haven't had much of anything to really hold on to and say this is what it's supposed to look like. This is how it's supposed to be. If we can get this for more than 2 years, what I'm saying. Look, that's kind of where it is. I hope that we're sitting now. We're getting ready, hopefully, now to watch a perennial winner be constructed. And I'm not going to go too far in that because I know we're going to discuss it, but this is a wonderful conversation. We got new guys. Who's here? Who's in?
Yeah.
So, all right. So really quick, I want to introduce 2 of our guests who have just recently popped on. First off, from the Off the Mat broadcast, not a podcast, excuse me. Here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Josh Silverberg. Joshua, how are you today, sir?
Hi guys, how you doing? I promised Jax. I told him I would come on back when he was in the show eventually. I just had to clear my schedule. You know what I mean? That was what it came down to.
Yes, I know.
I was sick then. I'm still sick now, but I'm not.
Being a married man definitely does.
Married man and the new house and trying to get everything settled.
Oh,
CJ,
yeah.
you know the whole thing.
I
But
do.
guys, thanks for having me on. I'm not gonna stay on too long because I actually have to run. I wanted to come on quickly to say, hi to you guys and everything like that. Thanks for having me on for the whole season and everything like that. And of course, we got the off season and everything like that coming up. And look, we don't know when this Adam Gase firing is going to go down. I've heard from people tonight. I've heard from people tomorrow morning. That's usually the way for for them to get back to Jersey. They're not going to do it right after the game is over.
No, he shouldn't have even been allowed to give a closing press conference.
He should have walked back
It
to
should have
New
been Joe
Jersey.
Douglas.
He should have walked back. That's where he should have went back. He should have walked back to Foreign Park and make him run some miles. You know what I mean?
Make him pay for his own cab. Get your ass.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't want to take up too much of your guys' time, but look, it was a pleasure, being on with you guys during this tumultuous, terrible, lackluster season that we had to, succumb to this whole year. And it does suck that my name on the screen says it all. It's finally over, right? The season is mercifully over. You know, and look, I mean, the coaching status, it's going to be interesting. You know, it's going to be, Joe Douglas had a very good first draft class. So I'm going to trust what he does. You know, I'm glad he's running the search, and you've heard a very broad search of names. You've heard from college to the coordinators to the former coaches. This is going to, from what everybody has said, Ian Rappaport has said, it is going to be a very thorough, long search. And it's about freaking time that a guy, we didn't have some guy that the Johnsons had to pay like a Charlie Casserly to say, give him an opinion. Okay.
Right. Well, that's because Casserly and Wolf had no skin in the game.
Exactly. It's exactly what it was.
They were going to go with whoever they thought was. And, you know, the same way how Peyton Manning threw his garbage opinion. And
that's what it was.
You know, but please, I could do an entire show just on that.
But you know what, though? But I'll give you guys a quick scenario, for example, just really quick. If I hire Kevin Jackson to be my GM, right? And I say to Jax, all right, man, I'm going to give you this kind of money. I'm going to give you $6 million, okay? You're going to be my GM. Your expectation as the person, I'm the owner, I'm paying you to do a job. And all of a sudden, when it comes time for you to really do the job you're supposed to be paid to do, you put your foot in. Right. So you're essentially wasting your money. And now like, why are you paying the guy $6 million? Look, if you're just going to stick your foot where it doesn't belong?
I'll take
that's the point. You know, and that's the crazy thing. I mean, when you look back at it, right? That's the crazy thing. And it made no sense to me with the Charlie Casserly stuff. None of it made any sense. You know, like, have a mind of your own. Hire a GM to do his job. That's essentially what it is. That's what you're paying the guy to do, right? So now he's essentially telling Joe Douglas, okay, listen, you're doing your job. And I believe that he is actually going to let Joe Douglas do the job. And yeah, I'm hearing, you're hearing Matt Campbell. You're hearing Wink Martindale. You're hearing Pat Fitzgerald. I don't care who the head coach is. I don't care if it's an offensive guy. I don't care if it's a defensive guy. I don't care if it's a special teams guy. John Harbaugh won a Super Bowl a couple years ago. He was a special teams coach. I don't care who it is. Everybody yells at me, why would you want Wink Martindale as your head coach? One, I want Wink Martindale as my head coach. One, because he would hire a creative offensive coordinator that knows what he's doing. Two, he's coming from a great culture in Baltimore. Okay? So don't sit here and tell me that I'm not going to hire a guy because he's the defensive coordinator. I'm going to hire a coach that could coach. I don't care. He could be a ball boy. If he could coach, I'm hiring him. I don't care. Okay? You hire a guy that you feel confident in, that you could bring in the building, and that's going to change the narrative and the culture of this organization. It's time to stop just trying to hire the sexy offensive coordinator name. I'm tired of it. Enough of it. Go look at the Bengals. They hired Zach Taylor because he worked for Sean McVay. Look at where the Bengals are right now, right? Who freaking cares? If the guy could coach, it don't matter to me. You know?
So, all right. So listen, really quick, I want to bring in our other guest who's popped in, Mr. Daniel Feuerstein, host of Feuerstein's Fire. Daniel, how are you tonight?
Well, you know what? I'm very happy that this season is now officially done and over with. The nightmare is over. We can now decompress, we can relax, and we can wait for that news of that certain idiot who's called a brilliant mind, who's actually a schmuck.
And when that news happens right now,
and when that news happens, we're going to hear something like this.
Yes.
Guys,
so,
listen really
way,
quick.
Daniel,
I have to run really
let you
quick,
know
guys.
That one of our listeners out there, Carlos M. Reyes, shout out to him. He made a comment that you look like Robert De Niro.
That's a compliment. Guys, listen, I got to run. First off, Jack, CJ, guys, it's always a pleasure, guys. We're going to stay in touch for sure. Love you guys. Keep up the awesome work, man. Listen, all of you guys, have a good one. Let's enjoy this for the next few hours, all right? It's finally over. The nightmare is done. Have a good night, guys.
All righty. You too, Joshua. Thanks again for coming on.
All
right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Joshua Silverberg, host of the Off the Mat broadcast here on Worldwide Sports Radio Network, and, of course, crazy avid Jet fan like everyone sitting here on the panel. You are watching and listening to Weapons Hot, a New York Jets fan broadcast here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network, Sports War Radio, Snowman Digital Media, and quite frankly, every place where you get your New York Jets fix. You've got CJ the Painkiller D. Simone here, Kevin Jackson, otherwise known as Spotty Blackman, right here, our wingman, Jets by Jimmy Jardine right over here. We have Mr. Green Bean right over here joining us tonight from Jets Talk 24/7 and Jet Nation. And, of course, Mr. Daniel Feuerstein from Feuerstein's Fire. So don't forget to shoot your comments down below. We will read them and get them on the air. So now, gentlemen, let's switch gears. We now get to finally focus on the offseason. And Green Bean, I'm actually going to start with you on this one because I'm very curious to hear, okay? We've talked about top 5 head coaches, who we want on our short list and all that good stuff. I'm curious to know, what is a realistic head coaching pick that you would like to see the Jets do? Now, mind you, here's a caveat. The caveat is that Christopher Johnson is actually going to come out and publicly say, I want nothing to do with the hiring coach. This is all for Joe Douglas. Joe Douglas is going to head up the search. Joe Douglas is going to head up the coaching for the head coach, for personnel, for everything. They're finally going to let this man do his job, hopefully. What do you see when you look into your crystal ball, my friend?
Yeah, well, I think it's very realistic to think that Joe Douglas is going to be given the keys. If we look back through the Jets' history, Woody Johnson, when he was the CEO of the New York Jets, often turned it over to his GMs, or like we said before, hired Corn Ferry or hired Casterly and Wolf. He's openly admitted, I'm not qualified for this, so he got someone else to do it. When Christopher Johnson took over as CEO, this is a classic, forgotten child in the family wanting to prove himself to mommy and everybody else. That's what it is. So he stuck his nose in and tried to do it himself. This is the results. So I think now that Joe Douglas has been there for a year and a half, we don't have to go outside of the organization. I think it's very, very clear, and it makes a ton of sense. The hierarchy that we've all made fun of the GM and the coach being at the same level and they both report to the owner, that shit's over. CJ is going to be moved to the back. Woody Johnson's going to slip back into his more prominent role, and we're going to see what we've seen the most of the time with him, which is a back seat. Now, once that happens, so I think that's absolutely going to happen. Whether or not he comes out publicly and says it, I don't know. But I do think that it's going to happen. Now, I think the coaching searches is pretty interesting. Now, I'm a big fan, and I think who I'm a fan of are realistic options. I think I really have 2 up top. And then I'll just do that. I'll do my 2. I think Matt Campbell is a legitimate potential. I think that if we didn't have Joe Douglas, it wouldn't even be possible. I think that Joe Douglas is absolutely a very well-respected football man in the NFL. It's not Mike Maccagnan. Mike Maccagnan was a laughingstock. Everybody knew it. For the past 5-6 years, we were only used as a negotiating tool by agents and GMs. That's all we were. Joe Douglas put the kibosh on that in 1 year. All the reports came out last year. The Jets are not the Jets anymore. This is a totally different outfit, and that's what he had to do, and he did it. So I would like Matt Campbell. If we want to get into why, I can do all that. But my other very realistic choice, and the guy it's like 1B for me, is Greg Roman. And not only do I think that's realistic because of the Baltimore Ravens Harbaugh connection. Don't forget, Roman has been working for Harbaugh's all the way back since Stanford. And Joe Douglas and the Harbaughs are very, very close. So I think the Baltimore connection is very real. But the thing is, and why I like Roman, is he's not the flash in the pan hot coordinator right now, like Joe Brady, like Arthur Smith. These guys have no resumes. Joe Brady has a year as an offensive coordinator. He was not the offensive coordinator of LSU. I don't give a shit what anybody says. That's not what his job was when he was at LSU. Now, I might like him, but as far as taking over this monster that is the New York Jets with us intense fans and the intense New York media, I don't want a noob. All right. So we've done it. We did it with Joe Walton. We did it with Bruce Coslett. We did it with Pete Carroll. We did it with Herm Edwards. We did it with Eric Mangini. We did it with Todd Bowles. We did it with fucking Rex Ryan. How many times do we have to do this? So what I want to see is somebody that actually has a long resume of success with more than one organization, more than one offense and or defense, more than one group of players. That's what I want to see. Matt Campbell has rebuilt from scratch the Toledo University program. When he was done there, he went over to Iowa State, took the laughing stock of the Big 12, I think it is, and made them into a place where the recruiting is actually legitimate. So this is a guy that didn't just do it for 1 year, didn't just do it for 2 years. Both of these guys, I think, are actually able to stand on their resume. Look at real quick what Roman fell off a little bit this year when Lamar Jackson came out and said, oh, people are calling out our plays. What happened since then? 5 straight games, today included, with 37 points or more. That's what's happened since that bullshit came out. So everybody's going to have a peak and a valley and an ebb and a flow. It's the nature of the game. But what I like about Roman is he fixed it. And that's what we haven't seen with our coaches. Our coaches, and this goes for Bowles, he was in over his head. It goes for even Rex, who I loved. He couldn't fix it. Once the shit started going sour, he went down the toilet with it. That's the way it went. And obviously, Adam Gase has no answers for anybody. So those are 2 guys that I think are legitimately being considered, and I think are legitimate potentials to get the job. And they're both guys that I would be very happy, much more than Arthur Smith and Joe Brady and the like.
Man, I'm starting to think my YouTube subscription to Green Beans channel might be the best one I made this year. Go ahead. That's flame. How do we follow that up? No, I'm saying, go ahead.
Listen, come on now. You got a couple of Apaches over there. Fire them off. Let's go.
I'm going to keep it real because I think, to Green Bean's point, the history of success is the most important. And I mean, instead of just having the one shot, you know what I'm saying? Because, and I mean, just think about it in terms of this. Adam Gase came here as a head coach with no history of success. None. And this is the guy that they thought was going to be this offensive guru who we were going to entrust the youngest, starting franchise quarterback in the history of the league. This is who they entrusted him with. Mm-hmm. And when you talk about a guy that you want to bring in, you want a guy to a few of the points that we've heard, who's going to be able to build a staff, not a guy who's going to hire Dowell Loggins.
Right.
Or
Casey Rogers.
To even have Dowell Loggins on your staff, that's the most questionable thing for me, because I didn't even know who Dowell Loggins was. And then when I started seeing all the memes and throwing flags and all of that, it kind of, okay, now I see who this guy is. I still don't care who he is because he's a scrub. He should have never been here. This is the problem that we've had. And this is why the team situation is as bad as it is, because we haven't had football guys making football decisions. Joe right now is getting ready to make a football decision.
And that's the problem, Kevin, because when it was first reported last year that Loggins was coming back to be with Gase to come here, they've all said to Gase, don't bring him here. Yeah. Don't bring him here. Look, don't bring Dowell Loggins here.
Chris Johnson allowed it to
bring
happen.
in someone else. Bring in a offensive coordinator. He doesn't listen. Doesn't listen at all.
The fact that he's going now is the best possible thing. Now, just to kind of go a little further, because again, Greenman, you made some great points about guys to bring in. I think there's going to be a lot of names that are going to surface. There's going to be a lot of positivity around a lot of these guys, because for whatever reason, it just seems like the planet and the stars are all aligning to having really some of the most capable and qualified guys available for us in this time, right? I personally, I like the Greg Roman pick because I think that he is and has shown, to Greenbee's point, that flexibility, that ability to make changes when we most need them. And Adam Gase showed a complete total lack of being able to do that. I'm just going to keep it real. I like Wink Martindale, probably because I think our defense right now is much further ahead than our offense is, but we would trust him to bring in a guy that's going to cultivate the pieces necessary to grow this offense while taking advantage of a defense that actually puts us in position to be able to win games or keep us close in games until the offense actually gets where it needs to be, right? So to me, our defense has, especially when you just look at our defensive line with Quinnen, with Franklin Myers, with Fatukasi, with all those guys, I think we are in position right now to be effective immediately. I'm expecting that our first little our first little draft picks are going to include a pass rusher. They're going to include a corner. They're going to include a wide receiver. You know, all of these conversations about if we're gonna bring in a offensive lineman instead of drafting a quarterback with the first pick at 2. I think that disqualifies you. If you drop that in my feed, I'm going to block you. I'm telling you right now. If you start talking to me about drafting Penei Sewell and not drafting a quarterback, I don't know. Right. Our communication is probably going to be extremely limited from that point on, because I think it is a bad football decision. I think you do not miss out on the opportunity to add your franchise quarterback. Everybody talking about, yeah, we need to keep and build around Sam. That might get you blocked too. I'm going to keep it real. I like Sam. I love Sam coming in. I'm telling you right now, I thought the kid had it. He's proven that he doesn't have it.
Right.
We need to bring in a guy right now that is going to be able to show that he – and look, even if it's a guy that is going to sit, I'm not trying to pay Sam Darnold 20-some-odd million having one mediocre season under his belt. And if we don't make a complete, 180-degree change based on where it is that the team trajectory is going, Sam Darnold's not going to be able to carry this team to success regardless of who comes in, just because I don't know if he has the talent to be able to do it. So this is where some of these things are kind of, and I hate to sit on the fence when it comes to stuff like this, but until we really know who that guy is, it's going to be difficult to get a gauge on where it is exactly that we're going. Do I like Arthur Smith? Yes, I love Arthur Smith. Do I like Dable? Yes, I like Dable too. All of these guys. Do I like Campbell? Yes. I like a lot of what these guys bring in. Big picture, we won't know until they bring their staff, until they actually start putting the pieces together that are going to make it possible for us to say, we have this and it's going to work. We have that, it's going to work. We have this, it's not going to work. We're going to need to add a piece. But, this is going to be fun because this offseason, like, every offseason we've had since Monkey Ass Itzik was here, is going to be one of the most important off seasons that we've had going into this next season. And we've been saying that continuously. But we've been saying it with guys that have no fucking clue about what it is that they're doing to build a team. And now we have a guy that does.
Right.
That changes entirely. And excuse me, I know I'm cursing and all of that, but my faith says that you don't build your house on sand, you build it on the rock, right? Joe Douglas is the rock, man. Yeah. Joe Douglas is the rock.
All right, really quick. Shout out to John Suggs. He's actually making a pretty heavy case for Jim Caldwell. All right. Actually saying, look at the Ravens since 2012. He turned that program over. I've actually tasked Jimmy to go and look up Jimmy Caldwell's profile. Jimmy, what'd you dig up?
He's got decent numbers. To be honest, guys, Jim Caldwell, I just think it's too up in the air.
I like him as an OC. I don't know about head coach.
Correct. Yeah, it's about leading people. I don't think that there's enough. He was in Detroit from 2014 to 2017. He was in Indy from 2009 to 2011. And then there was a 3-year gap. And then I just
no.
I just don't. Yeah, I don't think he's failed.
Not.
Enough.
I don't want that man anywhere near the Jets at all. He's just a fraud head coach. He's a fraud head coach. He's on the coattails of Tony Dungy. When they won the Super Bowl with the Indianapolis Colts, the man just stands there, looks around like he thinks he knows what he's doing. I want no part of Jim Caldwell whatsoever. If Tony Dungy ever came out of retirement and leaves the NBC studio, then fine. I don't want his so-called understudy because that man does not know a damn thing about head coaching. I'm sorry, Jim Caldwell, out.
I'm not going to be that forceful about it, but I'll say that I don't think he's the answer. There's not a consistency. Like it is a really
okay. So we got a resounding no from Daniel. So I'm sorry.
Resounding no from Daniel. You're going to get a hard pass from me.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind him as an offensive coordinator because I think that's his strength. As a head coach,
right?
I don't necessarily know.
Right, but if that's what we're talking about as a head coach, I just see too many peaks and valleys with his coaching style. There's too many gaps. Like it looks like from what I'm looking at as far as the history, it looks like something goes wrong. He takes a walk, and then he sits for a year or two, and then he comes back and tries to do it again, and then things go wrong, and he gets out again. I don't like his inconsistency, so it's going to be a hard pass from me. If I could just jump in and talk a little bit about the head coaching aspect that I would like to see as far as the most realistic aspect of it, I think Greg Roman is the most realistic pick that we could have. Not only that, but it was there's two things at work here. Number one, I like the way that Greg Roman has developed not only running quarterbacks, which he is very, very good at, okay, but he also developed Alex Smith that was not Harbaugh in San Francisco. That was Greg Roman, from the jump, okay? So I like that he can design offenses, and to Green Bean's point, he's got an extended resume of building successful offenses around what he has to work with, and it's been consistent. It's been absolutely consistent. There's been a few games in Baltimore this year where they kind of struggled. I think Lamar Jackson, I'm going to disagree with you, Kevin, on Lamar Jackson. I think he's going to burn bright for a couple of years, and then he's going to fade out just like most running quarterbacks do. But what I like about this Greg Roman pick is we're sitting at the number 2 spot, guys, and we're likely not getting Trevor Lawrence, okay? So there's a bunch of rumors flying around about Urban Meyer and him going to Jacksonville, and maybe he, I'm in on that too, man. Maybe, just maybe, he decides he wants Justin Fields. We don't know. So maybe we get that golden ticket passed to us for Trevor Lawrence. But either way, I watched that replay of that Ohio State game against Clemson. Let me tell you, Daniel, I have been very anti-Fields on this show and on Facebook.
The kid broke out.
And Kevin can vouch for that aspect. Green Bean can vouch for that aspect. But here's the thing. My biggest knock on Justin Fields was that it's been taking him several drives to get over bad choices or bad plays. And he proved to me against Clemson, which is a high-powered defense, he proved to me that he can have a bad play and get over it quickly. So I'm warming up to him. Now think about that, guys. If the Jags do what's expected, I'm not saying they're going to get Urban Meyer. I'm not going to go with the conspiracy theories and say that that's the way it's going to be. Odds are we're not 99% chance we don't get Trevor Lawrence, guys. But sitting at 2, what offensive mastermind do you want developing a mobile quarterback like Justin Fields? You give me Greg Roman all day, every day, period.
Look, just because I need to defend my Lamar take, right?
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to throw you under the bus on that.
Wow, dude. You want to show us the tire tracks real quick there?
I caught a lot of flack about that because I was like, no, I don't care. I think we should draft Lamar. And everybody's like, oh, yeah. Okay. The fact of the matter is that Lamar has the talent to be able to throw. Yes. He needs the coach. He needs the coach to be able to teach him. And as of right now, just like you said, once Lamar recognized something and made the statement to Green Bean's point about, he started to fix it, that's all that matters. I don't give a shit. You talk about, they're calling out the plays. Then the next week, they have no idea what it is that you're doing. That's how effective coaches make their mark on this league. That's how effective coaches make their mark on their teams. Baltimore is still one of the best teams in the league, period, hands down. And it's because they have a guy that is as talented as Lamar is with a coach that can actually flex to make your scouting almost irrelevant if he so chooses to do that. And that's what we need here. Depending upon that's what we need.
He's going to have to because you got Hollywood Brown that was super pissed off a few weeks ago. Yeah, and you don't want to be honestly, you don't want to be a wide receiver on the Baltimore offense right now. Yeah. So it's coming around. So it looks like Lamar Jackson is actually turning the corner, and it looks like he's actually going for that, throw first mindset or starting to. I mean, it's up in the air. I'm just saying that as far as our coaching standpoint, just take a giant bucket of money and throw it at Greg Roman so that we can just be done with this thing.
Going to be interesting to see how they go. It really is. And again, because we always talk about, Joe Douglas and not knowing really what his mindset is, these next few decisions that he's going to make is literally going to be They say you make your first step your best. It doesn't necessarily need to be a big step. It just needs to be in the right direction.
And this is where I'm going to agree with everyone here because this is the one thing that really made me mad about Adam Gase when he was still the head coach of this team. He's not letting Sam feel the flow of the game. He's not allowing him to look. You cannot force a kid to be a pocket passer 95% of the time. You got to let him feel his way around if he's even pressured. He had half the time he's not even feeling the pressure. And is that more about Sam or is that more about how Gase is coaching him? Forcing him to be a pocket passer. Well, he's not a pocket passer. He's got a good arm. And when he's able to run around and create plays on his own, he gets the first down. And at the same time, it's like when you're in a 4th and 1 situation or 4th and a half a yard, what do you expect Sam to do? You expect him to keep the ball, go into the first line, the first down marker, and move the chains. And he never does that because all he does is hand the ball over to Frank Gore. And what happens? Gets stopped at the line every single time. There's no imagination from Adam Gase. There's no imagination at all. The one moment of imagination we had was already eliminated from playoff contention, 1-13, and then they fake out the Browns on the Crowder throw to Braxton Berrios for the touchdown against the Browns. I mean, this is what you need in a guy in Norman to go out there to change it up. Not just, listen, they know what we're throwing. Let's change things up. Hey, listen, they're not expecting this type of play. Let's throw this out. Let's do this. Let's do that. Let's change things up. It's halftime. What do you do at halftime? You make adjustments. And when you make adjustments, you win the game. And at the same time, when you're seeing Adam Gase out there, when he has an opportunity to put the foot on the throat of the opposition and you're destroying them left and right after a half of football, what happens in the second half, or at least in the middle of the third quarter till you get to the back end of the fourth? Nothing. You don't put the foot on the gas. You don't step on their throats. You don't put in the final nail in the goddamn coffin. What do? Oh, let's keep running this play. Let's keep running that play. I got nothing to change. I can't change it. I'm just going to hope and pray that they just don't catch it. And when they do catch it, what do you do next, Adam? Well, I'll tell you what he does next. He does the same thing at all. Wash, rinse, repeat. I'm going to hope and pray I keep the lead. And you can't do that in the NFL. You cannot do that in the National Football League, where everyone is going to make adjustments against you because you have people watching from above, assistant coaches, teams on offense and defense. Hey, listen, this is what they're doing. Why do you think they have that Microsoft Surface for? Like what Green Bean said, it's there to talk to your offensive coordinators on the ground, telling you, hey, listen, your assistant's telling you, whenever they're going to call this play, be aware of it because it's going to be the one that's killing us. So we got to make adjustments. And if you don't make adjustments, you're going to lose the lead. You're going to lose the game. You're going to go into an and tizzy, whatever it is. It's just an absolute disgrace when you're seeing a team who has a lead, lose a lead, and then loses the game.
If there's any doubt about why this coaching staff needs to go, Samini just tweeted about the team leaders. Sam Darnold leads the team in passing yards with 2,208 passing yards. Wow. Frank Gore obviously leads us in rushing with 653 yards. Jamison Crowder leads us in receiving yards with 699. Also leads us in touchdowns with 6. That's disgusting.
We have a 900-year-old running back leading
that
us.
These are team leaders.
Really?
It is absolutely disgusting that these are team leaders, not the people, but the numbers. Piss me off more than anything else.
Exactly, me too.
Again,
Absolutely.
This just really speaks to, when I said earlier about another unfortunate side effect of hunger, right?
Yep.
We are dying right now. We are starving right now, and we had. Because I think he's on his way out, which I'll be thankful when the news actually does hit the line, that his ass is out of here. But we've got a guy that's supposed to be the chef who can't cook. He doesn't even know how to use a damn microwave. that can't press buttons on the air.
Which button do I push to turn the power on?
Yeah, but that's the point, because now we have we to our detriment. We have a GM who brought in young guys that are supposed to be the future of this organization. Denzel Mims, LaMichael P. Ryan, excuse me. I mean, he didn't bring in
Ty Johnson, Adams.
all of those guys, right? All of those guys are supposed to be put in position to grow, to build the foundation, so that we, over the course of the next season, can actually see these guys develop into being those top-notch stars, those guys that we know that we can count on to be there for us as we learn how to win. And what it is that we got is we got a coach who refused to use them. We got a coach who not only who made maybe just beyond being a refusal, might not have a damn clue about how to use them.
And that's the problem, Kevin.
To continue to run with Frank Gore. Might have told Frank Gore, "Oh yeah, man, we need a veteran presence. If you come in, I'm gonna try to get you enough touches and enough carries so that you catch Walter Payton. You're not gonna be able to catch Walter Payton at 3.1 yards a clip when you're 600, 700 yards away. You're not going to be able to do that. So the fact of the matter is that Adam Gase might actually have been the worst possible damn decision that this organization had made, but it wasn't a decision that was made by Joe Douglas. So when we talk about, again, turning the page, and now at this point, yeah, we've had to struggle through it. Yeah, I've spent a couple of grand in liquor this year. Yeah, I've done all of that. I've decided that this was the worst possible year for me to stop smoking. You know, the whole thing. You know, I'm coming into this saying, you know, I kind of want to just want to say this. I know it's difficult to ask for patience when we've waited so long for even competence, but I think this in particular might actually be the best possible time for us to really feel comfortable with giving it, right? With being patient right now. And for all of the fans, all of the guys that follow, all of the guys that follow me, all the guys that follow the show, all the guys that follow Green Bean and CJ and Dan and Jim, if you follow any of us right now, just hear my plea. Give us a few minutes. All right, at least to take a deep breath and adjust and see what's going to happen, because I think this offseason is going to give us an opportunity to not say, oh shit, what we're waiting for is for Adam Gase to get a control on his coaching staff, because that was the issue. And that issue extended out to so many other things. Right now, look, we really do have an upward trajectory, but it's because we bounced off the damn ground.
Mm-hmm.
Bean,
what are your thoughts? You've been eerily quiet on that end over there. So come on, fire off a couple of missiles for me.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff being said right now. But the thing is about like Kevin just said, you know, Joe Douglas didn't bring in any of the mess. Not Sam Darnold, not Jamal Adams, not Adam Gase, not Tremaine Johnson, not Quincy Enunwa, Henry Anderson, and it goes on, and Le'Veon Bell, C.J. Mosley. It goes on and on and on. The thing that really supports my feeling confident, and I could give you a half hour of and list the reasons, but the one way out front is this. Joe Douglas, just like Kevin is saying, is not affected by the impatience of the New York Jets fan base and media. He's cleaning. You cannot give somebody a 4-foot pile of horse shit in the middle of the room, hand them a toothbrush and say, clean this up, and expect it to be done in 10 minutes. It's just not going to happen. Joe Douglas spent the past 18 months cleaning up the contracts. Think about this. We couldn't even trade Le'Veon Bell for a 7th-round pick in 2023. Why? Because no one would touch that contract. We literally had to just eat it. That's how bad the contract was. Quincy Enunwa's contract, he was given injury guarantees while he was on injured reserve. That's the logic we have. So Joe Douglas has done an exceptional job. He has really 2 more contracts to clean. One is Henry Anderson, who will be cut this year, and the other one is CJ Mosley, which I don't know what you can do. I mean, he's got 4 years left at $17 million. It's incredible. So whether or not we are able to move around, I don't know, but Joe Douglas has done an exceptional job cleaning the house. So there is that foundation that Kevin was talking about, and we can start to build on it. And then you look at what he has been able to do. Don't forget, he had 1 draft, guys. That's it. He's been here 18 months, but he had 1 draft because of the scenario surrounding his hiring. So he in 18 months, He did all the cleaning, brought in a franchise left tackle, a 6'3", 4.38 speed hands receiver who blocks. Okay. That was his first 2 picks. Jets fans have been screaming for those 2 things for 10 years. We were deprived. We never got it. Since 2006 was the last time we drafted an offensive lineman in the first round. Now, when you look at all of that stuff, the opportunity that we have right now is we are at the number 2 pick. Do you realize that the Jets have not been this high in the draft? I know it feels like we have, but we haven't been this high in the draft in 24 years or 23 years. That's the last time we were number 2 or number 1. And it was 96. Well, that's 92. That's
Right.
That's even further back. I'm talking about the Keyshawn Johnson and Bill Parcells trade and ultimate pick of James Farrier. So it was 1997. So that's the last time we had this opportunity. Sure, we've had the 3rd pick. We took Quinnen Williams. Sure, we've had the 6th pick. We took Leonard Williams, defensive tackle. We never addressed anything that we actually need. We drafted Leo when we had Sheldon Richardson, Snacks Harrison, and Muhammad Wilkerson. That was the only unit on the team that we didn't need help. And he brought in fucking Leo Williams. So it just shows how really slapdick this organization has been. They don't know what they're doing. They're susceptible to names, big names, or pressure from the media or what they're supposed to do. Joe Douglas could give a damn about any of that. And just like Kevin said, he is moving forward slow and steady because that wins the race. And Jet fans, whether we're patient or not, this is the best way to do it. It's the way that I have been hoping that we would do it for at least 10 years since 2010. I hoped Rex did this. Rex and Tannenbaum. This is what I hoped they did. And instead, it didn't go that way. So I think it's the best time, the best opportunity, and we have the best guy. And when Adam Gase is fired tonight or tomorrow morning, Joe Douglas will be the unquestioned leader of the New York Jets. And it is about time. It's been since Dick Steinberg that we've had a legitimate general manager. We have not had one. Even Bill Parcells was not a general manager. So that's how long it's been. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's how I see it. I agree with what Kevin was saying 100%.
Man.
All right. So just a couple of things really quick here, just to wrap this up as we got Kevin Jackson's solo segment coming up here. I just wanted to chime in a couple of comments in here. First off, thank you again to everyone who's been firing off comments. Jason Rhodes, Scott Klesby, Louis Gianni, Matthias Simon,
I love you guys.
Lino Cortina. The list goes on and on, guys. I can't thank you guys enough. All right. Really quick, Florencio Rodriguez. Darnold post-game interview looked deflated and lacked confidence. Summary of this year's performance. Martin Steele says, thank you guys for your broadcast. Happy New Year. Hopefully next season to be a better outcome. Definitely. We appreciate you tuning in. We look forward to you tuning in for the weeks to come. So Jason had a really, really good point. Okay, so who would Gase put in as running back over Frank? Bell wasn't good, and Gase knew that he was done. Who does that fall on?
Gase, Frank Gore's son.
All right.
Scott Gillespie.
I have to say this, man. Not being able to use Le'Veon Bell.
To travesty.
What the hell are you talking?
That's what I said.
Yeah.
That's what I've said.
Scott Gillespie says that Green Bean looks like Santa.
Fuck yeah, I do.
Let's see. There was Johnny Suggs chimes in. Shout out to him. Bears defensive coach, defensive coordinator Chuck Pagano. Would that be a possibility?
I think we got to have more offensive coaches to come in here. The ones that are, has a brain, that knows what they're doing. Not a fraud like the one we just had 2 seasons.
What about Vikings OC Gary Kubiak?
No.
Nah.
You know what?
It's like, look,
can I just
guys have had their.
I just excuse me. I just need a second on this, just because this is real quick. I don't want to retread.
Right.
Really, like I don't want to retread.
Right. We don't want retreads.
I understand wanting new and fresh and all of that. I understand wanting, I understand wanting tenure and experience and a track record of winning. I don't want a retread. And a retread doesn't speak to being able to do something new. That's the problem that I think I have. And words mean, words mean what they mean. I don't want a retread. I want a guy that has a history of being able to show success, but not necessarily a guy that's had one season of success in a 17-year history. You feel me? Like,
Right.
I want something. I want a guy that's going to be able to bring in fresh, that's going to be able to bring in new. Because this Jets organization, this team that we're going to be, it's going to be new. It's going to be fresh. It's going to be something that nobody's ever seen. I cannot impress upon that enough. I don't want a guy that's just a name.
Yeah.
All right, Green Bean, you want to jump in real quick, and then we're going to segue into Kevin's segment.
Yeah, I just think, look, I understand, like, there are names people know, and like Jim Caldwell's a funny one, but what I'll say is that if you were fired in Detroit, please don't come in for an interview like that. It's just that simple. If Detroit is firing you, then it's not going to work here, man.
Yep.
Chuck Pagano, I actually like Pagano, but again, he failed with Indianapolis, and there was some drama around his failure. The team was like divided. They didn't like him. It was a whole bunch of shit that went on there. We don't need it. We need unity, man. And like Kevin just said, I really would like somebody that can actually produce something new, fresh. Marvin Lewis. Yeah, I get it, man. I get it. He's a good coach, but do I want him? We're going to see 15, 0-7 in the playoffs. So it's just like, okay,
exactly.
So I get it.
To that point, no. Yeah, I wish I would have said that because it might have perfected my comment, but real talk. Green Bean 0-7 in the playoffs? No.
Right. No.
When you have Marvin Lewis coaching against the Jets in the last week of the regular season, and you allow the Jets to make the playoffs, and then you got to face the Jets back at home again, and you lose to the Jets again, that's where you got to say no.
That's right. The last football game ever held in Giant Stadium was that exact game where we shellacked the Cincinnati Bengals before we shellacked them in the playoffs.
That's right.
No.
Shellacked them again in Thanksgiving evening game.
Absolutely. All right. So on that note, we are going to fire up tonight's solo segment as Mr. Kevin Jackson takes us in the spotlight.
No.
In the spotlight with
Kevin Jackson.
All right, Jax, who do we got in the white hot spotlight tonight, brother?
I can't see the spotlight. It's so white hot. It's so bright. Anyways, in the spotlight tonight, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, my friends and my enemies, Joe Douglas. Joe Douglas is the guy right now, guys. And I'm going to try to keep this simple. I'm going to try to keep this as succinct as possible because I know that a lot of us have opinions about what it is that we're going to expect going into this offseason. A lot of us have opinions about should we keep Sam? Should we draft Justin Fields? Are there conspiracy theories about Trevor throwing the game because he wanted Justin Fields to shine so that he would end up being the number 2 pick? All that, yeah, whatever. Joe Douglas is the guy. Joe Douglas is the spotlight right now because Joe Douglas's decision going forward are going to be what it is that we're going to measure our success over the course of these next few decades. Feel me? All right. Joe Douglas makes the right decisions now. Not only do we look good in 2021, not only do we look good in 2022, 2023, 2024, but we actually make a decision that is going to expand over the course of our brand new franchise quarterback's rookie contract. 4 to 5 years. If what we're looking at right now is a guy who not only understands how to make personnel decisions that impact the locker room, that impact free agents' perceptions of what it looks like to come and play for the New York Jets, what it looks like for coaches' situations to come in and be an assistant, to be a coordinator for the New York Jets. Joe Douglas is the guy. Okay, Joe Douglas is going to make a decision right now about what type of compensation he's willing to accept to get Sam Darnold's ass up out of here. All right, now I'm going to keep that real. I like Sam, and we talked about this a few different times, but I'm going to keep. If you give me a 2nd and a 5th right now, Sam Darnold is yours. Holla at your boy, deuces. We loved you, thank you, but we'll see you next season, or maybe we won't. Trade his ass to an NFC team that we won't see until 2023. Possibly, who knows? But you got to go. It was nice having you. You were great. I'm going to keep it real. Watching some of those press conferences, having Sam say, you know what, I believe in what Adam Gase is doing. It just made me sick. It made me sick because I know for a fact, if Sam Darnold is an intelligent guy, like we think that he is, there's no way in hell Sam Darnold was comfortable with what Adam Gase was doing. None. Green Bean made a point earlier. I'm going to throw him in because right now I'm going to keep it real. You're one of my favorite guests right now, Green Bean. I don't rank him, but you're up there right now. I'm just going to tell you that. But this is the point. This is the point. I watched Sam Darnold agonize and struggle through so many post-game press conferences, saying, he believed in the direction of the team. I needed to play better. I need to do things to elevate my team when you had nothing to stand on. You're standing in quicksand talking about how you need to elevate somebody else. For that, Sam Darnold, I love you, bro. I do. I always back our draft picks because I think that as an organization, we are your first opportunity. We are your first introduction into this league, into the difficult situation that is the NFL. And we fucked you up, bro. Period. Point blank, hands down. What it is that we did, if there was any damage done to Sam Darnold because of his tenure in the NFL, it was because he was drafted by us. The kid, he's a good kid. He's a talented player. All of the above. His success is not going to come here. And that's difficult for me to say because I've been saying it since we drafted Geno Smith. I've been saying it since we drafted Mark Sanchez. Your success is not going to be here. And that's difficult for me. And it's because we didn't have a guy who is in the spotlight right now like Joe Douglas. Joe Douglas is a football guy. Joe Douglas is going to make football decisions. Joe Douglas has already proved that as a talent evaluator and as somebody that's going to pull the trigger on the foundational pieces that we're going to bring in, I'm going to be honest with you. I think he's done the job. I will say this. Joe Douglas has made a couple of mistakes. The kicking situation, abysmal, real bad. Some of the free agent decisions that he's made, Ryan Khalil, blah, 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 have been bad. But I got to say, I like the balls with making the pick. Ryan Khalil was a Pro Bowl talented center when he was actually playing at his best. And when you come in and you're trying to make a move, I could be mad at you not trying to bring in a guy of that pedigree. But I'll also say this: he allowed James Harrison to go. Lord have mercy, I'm gonna draw a blank on my man's name.
Adams.
You know what?
Robbie Anderson.
Robbie too, but I'm talking about the guy that we had at center that was actually the best center that we.
Jonathan Harrison.
I was just going to unmute and say Jonathan.
Jonathan Harrison was the best center that we've had on this team, and literally everybody was trying to get rid of him. Everybody was trying to get rid of him, and he was the best player that we had in that position. Almost like how we paid Muhammad Wilkerson and didn't pay Snacks.
Right.
Oh my Lord, have mercy. We have a guy right now who we feel and believe is going to be able to maybe learn from some of those mistakes and build a winner. Not valuing Robbie the way that I think that he should have was difficult because it hurt Sam. Sam's mom and Sam's dad got a confirmation from Joe Douglas that he was going to do what it is that he needed to do to put Sam in the best position to win, and I think he failed in that. But I will say this. As a rookie, you make mistakes. It's always how it's been. In every season, in every position, it doesn't make a difference. As a rookie, you're going to make mistakes. Joe Douglas right now, I think, is the guy. I'm looking forward to seeing what Joe Douglas does as he transforms into being a confident, well-respected guy who brings in a coach, who brings in players, who brings in personnel that is going to transform a team that has been for decades a laughingstock. And I think he's the guy to do it. I'm not going to go too deep into it because I know we're coming up against it, but Joe Douglas tonight, ladies and gentlemen, in the spotlight. Guys, am I off? Talk to me a little bit. Tell me where I'm at. Thank you.
No, I don't think so. I don't think you're off at all. And I think I speak for everybody here on this panel where, we're very curious to see what Joe Douglas is going to bring for the table. He's got a lot of work in front of him. He's got a lot of holes that have to be filled on this team. And you know what? We're going to get to see exactly what Joe Douglas can do coming this offseason. So anybody else?
Well, I'll say this. Well, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Daniel. Go ahead,
Well,
Daniel.
I just want to say this is that, I mean, so far what I've seen from Joe Douglas, he has done very well in one draft. He's done a good amount of solid draft picks to come over. So far, the free agents that he has brought over, I would say Ryan Griffin has been a very good pickup for him, but that's the only one he's done so far. I don't think.
Elfline, I think, is a guy, man. I just got to throw that in. Elfline, I think, is a guy. If you watch the film with him and Makai next to each other, I'm telling you right now,
yes,
I think they match nasty, boy. I think they match nasty. If you match nasty on the offensive line, yeah, tastes good.
No, absolutely. But what I'm saying is, you got to look at Ryan Khalil, who that was a mistake to bring over. The kicking situation is still a mess. There's been maybe one or two other players, I'm probably forgetting their names right now, that he brought over as free agents. Probably has not worked out at the moment. But you know what? I'm not faulting him for at least not trying. He has tried. He's at least tried to make the team better. And of course, allowing Robbie to, go and play in Carolina to rejoin his college coach, which is a big, yeah. I mean, so far, if you're asking me, do I believe in Joe Douglas? Yes. Do I think he is the guy that has learned from his mistakes, that he can learn from his mistakes on the free agency level? I think he can. I think that right now we got ourselves a general manager. I agree with everyone on here on this panel that this guy is going to be definitely probably the GM we've all wanted for a very, very long time. Now all we need is a coach. We need a head coach that is imaginative, that is not afraid to look at both sides of the ball, offense, defense, and he also has to help out with special teams, so be it. We need someone that has fresh ideas, a fresh mind, whether he is a first-time head coach, as he's been a coordinator for the rest of his career, or someone from the college ranks to get an opportunity. Green Bean suggestions, I believe in them too. Who knows? I mean, maybe Bieniemy falls in their laps out of the blue. If the first choice doesn't come up, I don't know. But all I know is something's got to change for next year. And that's going to happen. I believe it will happen, that the current guy that went home from Gillette Stadium is going to be told, turn around. I'm going to stick my foot up your rear so you can go right through the door and right into the garbage can because we don't need you anymore.
That might have been why Rex was one of my favorite guys, because Rex would tell you straight up, I'm about to kick your ass.
That's right.
And to put it in no uncertain terms, was one of the most fun seasons I think I've ever had as a fan was Rex Ryan.
Especially jogging down the sidelines as our running back was going for the touchdown in the playoffs against the Patriots.
Fucking snack. You feel me?
Yep. So, all right, Jimmy.
What's up?
I think I love Kevin. I love putting Joe Douglas in the spotlight. And normally, the way we've been going these last few weeks, the spotlight has been in the spotlight. The person there has been, you better fucking fix this. You better fucking change this.
It's us.
But I love the fact that Joe Douglas is in there as a, hey, we're shining this light on you because we believe that you're the guy. And I absolutely love that. Yeah. Now, when we talk about the Ryan Khalil move, I've commented in a couple of Green Beans streams and videos that the Ryan Khalil move, Joe Douglas was handcuffed from the day he walked into One Jets Drive. And he came in with scraps left on the table and he was trying to make a meal. He swung the bat and he missed the ball. But he took a swing.
He swung for the fences at that. Casey.
He did. Right. Now, do you want Aaron Judge to strike out swinging or to strike out with a bat on his shoulders?
No. Foul tip that bitch 8 times.
Take that shot. Take that shot. Joe Douglas takes those shots, and I absolutely love that about him. He has spent 15 years or however long it has been under Ozzie Newsome, arguably one of the greatest GMs of all time. I am 100% confident in the work that Joe Douglas can do for this team, and this is going to be the best offseason we've had in a decade. And I love the fact that he was your spotlight, Kevin. Well done.
Appreciate it.
All right, Mr. Green Bean, finish this up.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was great, man. And it's funny with Harrison. I felt the same way. It's like we keep trying to replace, to put somebody in front of him, like Spencer Long or Khalil, and every time they fall flat on their face, and Harrison comes in and saves the day.
And
But
plays
here's
well
what I was,
in games, yeah.
and plays well, right? I mean, he's not great, but he's solid. He's the best we've had. But the thing is that Adam Gase, I was told that Adam Gase doesn't like him. He's not his type. So the thing is that just like with Bell and so many others, even like when you get down to the Dolphins, Landry and Ajayi and all those guys, for whatever reason, Gase doesn't like him. So if he doesn't like him and he's not going to use him, I guess that makes sense to get rid of him. I didn't like the move either, but I do understand it. And I think that just like you said, he arrived with handcuffs. When he loosened them up, he still had a noose around his neck named Adam Gase. So it's like this guy has been an uphill battle. And in my opinion, he's done an exceptional job with the most important things. 1, cleaning up the mess and untying all the knots. 2, changing the perception out there among agents and GMs. And number 3, getting rid of this fucking coach. And I was told last year, if you guys don't know, I had a video that I did like week 1 or 2 that I was told from a source that Joe Douglas did not want Jamal Adams. Joe Douglas did not want Adam Gase. And Joe Douglas, with all respect, didn't believe Sam Darnold was the guy. And I got my head chopped off for it. And every little bit of that has come true. So it just is what it is, man. I have every confidence in this man. But just like Kevin said in the spotlight, he's going to make mistakes. You can't kill him for it. It's part of the deal. He was a rookie. So I love it. I think that was fantastic. And I agree with everything you said.
Guys, I really appreciate that because we're talking. I went back and forth a little bit about who was going to be in the spotlight. I almost put Sam, but I think Sam kind of shot a BB at his own bulb in this week because Sam really just he wasn't balling, man. And again,
So much for the 222s and the slingshot.
Yeah, look, not even the 222s anymore. Like 122, like a slingshot and a dirt rock. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
One little mud clots that you throw against the wall and just explodes. That's what it is that he had. So Sam Darnold's tenure with the Jets is over. I think the most exciting news that we'll get about Sam Darnold going forward is going to be what we get in compensation for his trade. But again, that follows again with why it is that I chose Joe Douglas in the spotlight, because I think Joe Douglas probably has been working on this for weeks. And I think Joe Douglas may already have a suitor that's going to trade some draft capital for Sam Darnold. We're going to get Sam Darnold ass out of here. We're going to stop talking about Sam. Again, I'm just going to reiterate this for everybody that's still watching. If you come into my mentions talking shit about we need to keep Sam, that might be the last time you and I interact. I'm going to block your ass because it's a wrap. Sam Darnold is out of here. He should be out of here. What we should be focusing on right now is how it is that we're going to build this team, the team that we love. If you cut me right now, I gush green all over my computer screen, all over this nice little fancy HD camera and all of that. But I'm going to tell you, this season, after coming out of the year that 2020 has been, just on a personal note, I've had people that have died from COVID, people that I love. One of my football coaches died. Feel me? This has been a horrible year. Not only was it a horrible year personally for a lot of people, and I'm gonna keep it real, I was out of work for 4 months, just speaking in generalizations. But now what we have is 2021. We've got a vaccine. We've got people going back to work. We've got the firing of Adam Gase.
Yep.
All positives, all things that are great, all things that show us that the upward trajectory is here. And CJ, I know you're a frontline worker, and I've been giving you props all year because you kick ass, bro. Everybody that does what it is that you do, you guys kick ass. I have the utmost respect and love for all of that. But 2021 is here. The year is ours. And even if we don't make it to the Super Bowl this season as a team, I'm going to tell you right now, I believe wholeheartedly that the success that we will see is going to be so much more sweet than what it is that we've had previously, because we've come from rock bottom. We literally were just a couple of weeks talking about 0-16 and wanting it to be 0-16 just so Adam Gase would never coach another football game again in his life.
Mm-hmm. All right. And ladies and gentlemen,
Can I just say one quick thing? I'm sorry, CJ. I know you're going to say goodbye, but let me just say this real quick. We need a new head coach, not only to improve our team and to have better ideas, but to scare the fucking shit out of Bill Belichick because I've had enough of losing to that son of a bitch.
Fuck Bill Belichick. He's done. Fuck Bill Belichick. He's done. You want me to tell you who I want to scare the shit out of? Josh Allen.
That's right.
Yeah.
Josh Allen's a beast. I'm going to keep that real.
Brian Flores.
all right. So,
These are our new nemesis right now. Let's wrap this
all
up.
right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to do it for tonight. That's going to do it for tonight's episode of Weapons Hot, a New York Jets fan broadcast here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network, Sports War Radio, Snowman Digital Media, and quite frankly, any place that you get your New York Jets fan media fix. And first off, we're going to go around the room. Mr. Green Bean, it was an honor and a privilege to have you on our show this evening. Please give out your social media information so fans of Weapons Hot can follow you and interact with you, etc.
Yeah, right on. You can follow me on my YouTube page, which is Green Bean Jets Fan, 2 words. So Green Bean, 1 word, Jets Fan, another. I'm the weekly video guy for JetNation.com. And if you want to follow my national coaster tour with my family, I'm traveling the country to ride every roller coaster in the country. You can also find me. Yeah, you can also find me on YouTube, RV Theming, and that'll get you. You can see all my coaster reviews and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, man, go Jets.
I'm excited about that. When you get to Cali and you get to Magic Mountain, we're going to talk about one of my favorite roller coasters there. That's
a deal.
All right. So, Mr. Daniel Feuerstein, please give out your social media information so fans of Weapons Hot can follow you and interact with you, etc.
On Twitter, capital letter D, capital letter F, lowercase EUERSTEIN. Also, listen to me on blogtalkradio.com/Feuerstein's Fire. There may be a change somewhere, but I will let everyone know if you follow me on Twitter.
All right. That's awesome to hear. And of course, you can follow our show on Twitter at CNC Jets Factor. You can follow me at JetsFan0523. My partner in crime on the other side of the glass, Mr. Kevin Jackson at your boy Spotty Blackman. Ladies, be sure you write that down. And don't forget, our man right over here, Jets by Jimmy, at Jets by Jimmy, and the thousands of spots where he's at. He is all over the place. So he's flying like a bird.
Jim's got good content, man. I'll let your boy for real. Jim's got good content. Follow up.
All right. So another way that you can catch your Weapons Hot fix, don't forget to go and download the app. The Worldwide Sports Radio Network app is available on Google Play and also on iOS for Apple phones. Be sure to go download that app. You'll be able to catch Weapons Hot along with the plethora of other sports shows that we have to offer on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Don't forget to check out the Worldwide Sports Radio Network Facebook page. You can check out Weapons Hot Facebook page. Our content is up there. Message us. We'll message you right back. We love going back and forth with fans about this team. Also, leave us some feedback about how we're doing over here. Shoot the show an email, weaponshotpodcast@gmail.com. Basically, if there's any place that you want to catch us, Spreaker.com, iTunes, you can find us. Just Google Weapons Hot, and you will be able to find us, especially on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. So, for Mr. Kevin Jackson, otherwise known as Spotty Blackman, Mr. Jimmy Jardine, Mr. Daniel Feuerstein from Feuerstein's Fire, and of course, someone who I hold very near and dear to my heart, Mr. Green Bean.
Love you, bro.
This is CJ the Painkiller D. Simone signing off. We will see you guys when we see you guys. Peace, love, go Jets. And we will end tonight's show, of course, with still, in my opinion, is the best chant in the National Football League. We'll catch you guys next week. Peace, love, go Jets. Happy New Year. Be safe. We love you guys.
Yes.